spending time with her husband, friends, family, including her 12 grandchildren. In her spare time, she connects and celebrates with the women involved in motorsports, taking you behind the wall about their journey of life, racing, and how they juggle everything to make it all work. Welcome to Racing Girls Rock Podcast. Strap in, window nets up, the pedals are down, and when the green flag drops, we go.
Hello, everyone. This is Melinda with Racing Girls Rock Podcast, sponsored by Racing Junk and the International Women's Motorsports Association, as well as Send Out Cards. So today it's my honor to have Chad and Kelly Schmidt with me. They are from Sheboygan, Wisconsin, and they're going to tell us a little bit about their business. And I'm excited to have them here. So welcome, Chad and Kelly.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So I found you on Facebook, which is how I found most of the people that I've connected to.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you tell us first a little bit about yourselves and then about your business and how it all started.
Well, my husband grew up in the racing community. He actually raced himself for quite a few years and then just kind of got out of it for career purposes. I kind of married into it. So it's been kind of new for me for the last six or 7 years. So, but we try and do racing stuff in the summer, and then he's a good guy and he goes shopping with me on the off season. So it works for both of us.
Good.
So he's always kind of been into doing models and diecast and stuff like that. And he made one for a friend of his.
Austin Cool.
Yep. And it just kind of went from there. He did a couple for Ricky Thornton as a gift, and then it just kind of took off from there. So we both have full-time jobs, so this is our hobby. It's kind of a second job for us, if you will. Keeps us out of trouble. So he does a lot of the building and I do the finishing touches, put the vinyl on and get the cases ready and everything like that. So it's a team effort.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about what are the diecasts? They can be drag cars, race cars, motorcycles. What are they typically that you make?
It originally started out as ADC makes a really great product, but then they're a cast iron, they're a metal style diecast. I got hooked up with a guy. His name is Dwight Carter from CustomDirtCars.com, and he is the one that originally started doing these 3D printed bodies. And for what he does for his career, he could not develop and grow it as much as he wanted to because of his limitations that he has. So we've been talking. They start off as an ADC chassis that you can buy. Anybody can buy them from any of their local dealers. We sell the 3D printed parts through a website line, CustomDirtCars.com. Dwight kind of takes care of that, the development part of it. I do a lot of the builds. They're actually a kind of a hybrid between a model and a diecast, but they got the realistic look of what today's cars look like, not something from the 80s that everybody is so used to looking at. We have multiple divisions that we're working on. I am the IMCA style cars. We have late models. We have a stock car line that ain't produced yet. We've got one body style that I will be bringing out onto the internet as a Ricky Thornton car. I do a lot of cars for him, and it's a lot of tribute cars. That's what I kind of like doing mostly is the wins. I did a 250 win deal. I work really close with a racetrack in Arizona called Cocopah Speedway.
I know of that speedway because my daughters live in Arizona, so I've checked out lots of speedways out there.
Yep, Benjy Lyons reached out to me about building some cars of Kenny Wallace's to give to his promoters that stepped up and said, here, promote it as racetrack. So we've linked because that's where I'm from. I grew up in Arizona. I grew up around Benjy. I grew up that's where I raced. I worked in race shops there. So I have a real tight connection with a lot of the racers down there. So that's where it's starting to really get our kind of our feet going, is because I know where these guys come from. I know what they do. Some of these guys do it for a living. Some of these guys do it for a hobby. And it was part of it to help them make some money. Like Ricky Thornton, he does it for a living. He's a very well-known guy, but I've known that family for many, many years, living down there with them. So they're kind of that family's kind of close to my heart, and I'll do anything for any of my racers, but especially like them type guys. We had a guy, can't think of his name now. I feel bad. Please cut that out.
It might come to you.
He just won Super Nationals. Ethan Dotson.
Yeah.
His family reached out to me and said, "Hey, we want a few diecasts." And I said, "Well, I can make it a little bit special for you guys." And that's what I like doing, is I reached out to my graphics companies, and I work with all the graphics companies in the country, and they're amazing when you tell them what to do. And I made a Super Nationals car because he won. So I put the check in the background, and then and do stuff like that. So it looks like they get the car. It has the check. It's that win that means a lot to them.
Right.
More special. It's better than buying a die cast. They print off a bunch of them. Here you go. It's all sentimental value. Ricky Thornton's has his car. He did 250 wins. Has his helmet. If anybody knows Ricky, he loves the Patriots. It has his Patriots helmet in it. I took the time and built it. So it's that special touch that I like what we do, me and my wife do, to these cars that kind of goes a little bit above and beyond what the normal guys that build diecast do. Sorry, I rambled on.
No, this is what I want you to do. I want you to tell about what you do and all that. So I have a couple questions. So for instance, let's say that somebody won a special race. They reach out to you. What size cars do you make? And then, you know, I've kind of looked at some diecast companies in the past, and just ordering one car is like very expensive. So why don't you tell me a little bit about how you're able to price them, and then what size are they?
They're 1/24th scale. Typically what a basic model car is. If any parent or any kid growing up, you know what a 1/24th scale car size is.
Yeah.
The one car, I can do one car up to as many cars as you want, because it's a 3D printed body. We print off what we need. I work real close with Dwight Carter on that part of it. And so the phone call starts or the email, you call me, contact me, how much they are. They're $175. That's the price range that we started out as. Me and my wife sat down, Dwight Carter, who's been doing these a little bit, but not to the extreme that we've been. And where are we going to price these to where anybody can come buy them? Family member can say, "Hey, I want these for my son," sponsors, that type of thing. So that's the price. That's where we wanted to kind of be. We wanted to be underneath that $200 mark, because sometimes when you get into a single die-cast car, they can get outrageous. These people are charging a lot of money for setup fees.
Yes.
I work really close with a younger guy. He's starting out in the vinyl business out of Illinois, Austin Simpson from Youngblood Graphics. This guy is amazing. He's got 5 cars going to the Dome.
Wow.
For late with modified. So the kid is really good. I reached out to him. He prints everything off for me. What sets us away from a lot of other people is I like to use the AI file. It's the Adobe Illustrator file, what they use to design these cars with.
Okay.
A lot of these guys will take and just scale down a picture or copy or bootleg. And that is one of the biggest things that I'm really against is bootlegging. I will not build anything for people to say, "Hey, I want this local." I will not do that, because you're hurting the industry, you're hurting the drivers. So I won't do it. Once I get that AI file, we have it scaled down, and I get it printed back from Austin, from Youngblood Graphics. Then the 3D printed bodies come in. they're kind of rough. That's where the man hours come in. I have to primer them, paint them each individually,
Yep.
and get them back smooth. The 3D process, you can't sand that 3D process smooth because it's a powder. It just keeps getting thinner and thinner. Multiply. Yeah. So you have to primer it. So
Okay.
that's where it takes the time. But I've learned over doing 30 some plus so far.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at being probably in the 50s to 60s by the time this year is over.
Mm-hmm.
It's overwhelming. And then I ship everything in a case. Before, when you get a die cast, it just sits on your shelf. I put it in a case for many reasons. It's $8 for the case that we eat ourselves. It's part of the bill.
Yep.
But it ships the cars there, and they're in one good piece. You pull it out of the box, you set it on your shelf, and
Now
it's
it's a
done.
display piece.
It's a display piece. Instead of just having a clear box, we developed putting something in the background, and that's why on a lot of these Diecasts they have that sticker in the background. They can have their sponsors. Sean Strand, I'm doing a car for. We got an order going out tomorrow of 10,
Yep.
and they all have just his sponsors in the background. Some of the big things that are coming up with the Diecast that people are going to be able to see is more Ricky Thornton stuff. His chrome car, that's just amazing. It took some time and some engineering trying to figure out how am I going to develop that, because a Diecast, when you go and get one from ADC, you're not going to have that chrome effect.
No.
You might just have it red. No, it will be the exact same chrome, everything, just like that car was. So you got that coming. Crystal Tanner, who reached out for me, amazing family in the racing industry. Her husband passed away a little over a year ago. She reached out to me wanting Diecast. She'll be getting those cars. Those mean a lot to me. Those type of people doing those cars like that is the reason why me and my wife do this.
That's our way to get back.
Let's give back to the community.
Yeah.
So yeah.
As I'm sitting here listening to you, so and then you actually touched on it. I was sitting here thinking, okay, I have my son raced and he passed away a little over a year ago. And before you even mentioned that, I was sitting here thinking, what a special thing to have for not only myself, but one of his youngest son who lived here close with his dad was very much involved and went to the racetrack a lot. And just thinking, the other kids not so much, but wow, I mean, I can't even imagine how much that would mean to me to have that in my collection.
Yeah. We had one, I can't remember their name. I feel bad for that because it was just blanks. The guy called me out and said, my graphics guy wants to do the work himself. Will you give me the blanks? And I said, absolutely. And they were giving to his friend who passed away, to their son, who's 2 years old. He wanted something to show, to put on their shelf, to say, this is what your dad drove. Because when he gets older, the way racing is, they're always developing. They're not going to look the same. No. But it's something that they can have on that shelf that he can look back and see, this is what my dad used to race. So yeah, that's the part that, those are the builds I like to do. I've got Tom Barry, who's an amazing race car driver that lives up in North Dakota. He just ordered a car, and we're going to build his stuff around the Dakota Tour, his Dakota Tour win. So his diecast will be based around that style. Ricky Thornton stock car will be part of the Dakota Tour wins cars. So yeah, I do have, people have asked me, will I sell more and more and more? I wish I can do small runs of people's cars and sell them to everybody. It's just me and my wife. We both work 40 plus hours a week. We can't do that.
Right.
I wish I could open my arms up and just build as many as I can. We can't.
We'd love to.
Yeah,
but...
it's just we can't do it. And it's Ethan Dotson's family. I talked to them. They said, yeah, go right ahead and sell as many as you want. It gets a lot more headaches when you start selling a lot of cars. So I told Ethan, and then once I slow down, if we slow down, I will put a small run out there just for them to sell online. So I'm hoping to kind of build that type thing. We are developing a lot more. I work with Dwight. We have meetings every Monday. I mean, this is a hobby, but every Monday he's off. I work second shift. We sit on the phone for hours. What people can look forward in 5150 Diecast and with customdirtcars.com is we are going, the main goal was to make model cars. So any kid can come, or any adult can buy these cars and build a dirt late model. Growing up, I'm in my 40s, we always had to think about making our own. They never looked right.
Yeah.
So that's where we're going with it. We're about 10 hours out of R&D to actually have the first, where people can go online and buy them, the kits of the late model. Then it'll be the modified, it'll get more and more and more. But sooner or later, you can go online and order a complete race car kit of these divisions and put them together.
I can see that would be very popular.
Yes, and that's what we're shooting for. And that's where he was kind of turning with this until I went to Austin. I built Austin. It was almost a year ago to the day, where I took it to Arizona and I hand delivered Austin this car. And there is nothing like a look on a guy's face when you walk up and show them, here's your car, and they've never seen it, and the detail and the thankfulness that you get for thanking you for doing it. Handing that driver that car is amazing.
I mean, I can totally relate to that, because I know what it would mean to me to have a replica of my son's car, and now my granddaughter's racing, and so for her to have at some point her first feature win in a model car, I mean, that's just it's really priceless, because it's a one-time thing.
Yep. We don't do much. We don't do any sprint car stuff. There are so many awesome builders and companies that are tenfold better than we are with the detailing and stuff like that. They've really developed that department, that part of the diecast, because it's a lot more popular. So we're kind of more of the grassroots style. They're really detailed. Our model line we're really excited about, because they're going to be extremely detailed. There ain't a part or piece on a car that won't be in one. So the customer can go ahead and order their parts that they want through customdirt.com, or if they don't have time, they can call me. And there'll probably be other people out there, and the more that we have, the better, just to grow this community, to build these custom cars where they're full detailed. And we'll be offering that to people as well.
So how can people, you said customdirtcars.com, that's Dwight, but how would somebody get a hold of you? Do you have an email address? How could somebody contact you?
We're on Facebook at CS5150 Diecast. You can reach, go to my Instagram page. It's Chad_Schmidt on Facebook. And just give me a message on there. That's mostly it. We've been looking at websites and stuff, but we kind of have the reins on this because we do work 40 hours. I know as soon as I open up a website where you can order directly through it, it's going to overwhelm us.
Because you kind of lose control at that point.
And I don't want to be a production machine. I don't want this to be, because it loses the sentimental, the reason, the feelings why we build these cars.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead. There's also an email, cs5150diecast@yahoo.com. Both of us check, and then Messenger if you find us on Facebook, Messenger is a good way, because it's linked to both of our phones. So we can both answer questions.
So Kelly, tell me a little bit more about what you do, so that it's printed and he puts the car together, obviously. And then it comes to you, and what is it that you do exactly?
Once he gets everything painted, he gives me the bodies, and then I get to put the vinyl on, which is the fun part, because then it comes together. I do all the finishing touches. I help him once all the vinyl and everything is on, we glue them together, and then I take care of all the cases. I lay the whatever color vinyl we want to do on the bottom. Usually it's chrome, just because that looks best with everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then I put the stickers in the back of the case, and then I help him wire them in, and then we pack them up. So he does a lot of the, I'm going to say, grunt work.
She just makes me look good.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I'll make it look pretty.
That's what wives always do. They make you look good.
She does a lot of the communication with people.
Yep.
She's
Shipping.
learned a lot of shipping, but when you contact it's either one of us that are communicating with the
Yeah.
customers.
Whoever's not at work at the time.
Yeah,
So
pretty much not at work at the time. She does a lot of that. She is doing a lot more of learning how to do the building part of it. I mean, it's pretty easy, but she wants to make sure that they're right.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm a perfectionist, but she's really a perfectionist.
Yep.
So she's going to be doing a lot more of that. When we get into the big custom builds,
Mhm.
then she'll be doing a lot more. She likes doing the detail painting, a lot of the details.
Yep.
So that's when it'll start really Kelly will really start getting into her hands on getting on these cars.
Yep.
It's the big painting stuff, the time it takes a while. She hasn't been doing, she wants to. But the way we're set up, I only have room for one of us to paint at a time.
Yep.
So she's been kind of helping and watching, and she'll be, once we kind of get going after the first of the year, we figure 2020 is when we're really, really start to push.
Mhm.
Then she'll you can get a car, you don't know who's going to build it.
Yep.
It can be me or Kelly.
But it'll look the same.
It's all the same.
Yep.
So when you build the car, and then I heard you say you put the vinyl, it sounds like you put the vinyl on, then you put the pieces together?
Yep.
Or how do
Yep.
you do that?
All the nose pieces and everything like that are separate. They come all together when the body's shipped to us, and then they're just barely attached, so we clip those apart and put all the vinyl pieces on separate, because it's easier to maneuver them and trim all around and everything.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I was thinking it'd be hard to like wrap the car after it was all put together.
The windows are the hardest part to get into.
The wrap actually comes exactly like your real car does.
Yep.
So if you ever seen how they lay a real car
Yeah.
out, okay, Kelly has to do that on a much smaller basis.
That would be very tedious work.
That's what I like, though. I like I've always been artsy and crafty, and screw around with that kind of stuff. So that's my wheelhouse right there.
I mean, there's times where I'll sit and try to do it, and I'll just get frustrated because it don't look right, or it's so small. There's some of these guys, these graphics are insane. Ethan Dotson had like 30 some lines on top of his car that ran from the roof to the nose to down.
Yeah.
Wow.
And trying to line that up. I'm cross-eyed. I'm fat-fingered. I ain't doing it.
Yeah.
So I here you go, Kelly. Here you go. And she sits and she takes care of that. Like I said, she makes them look good.
Yeah.
She makes my work look good. So
I just think what you're doing is so cool. And when I first reached out to Kelly and kind of told her what I do, and she's like, well, I'm not sure if you really want to interview us or whatever. And I'm like, oh no, this is something that any kind of race person, I think it would be interested in, because it's so special, and it's so like one of a kind. I mean, I'm ordering one. I can tell you right now. I got to figure out though where that AI file is, because that might be long gone, but we'll figure it out. So I just love how unique it is, and how, even, I mean, I have some collector cars. I'm a Natalie Decker fan, and Austin Terrio, I have one of his cars that he signed for me back when he was doing a little bit of racing. And I have a lot of Kyle Busch autograph things, but to have one of my son, or to have one of my granddaughter's car, or for her mom or her to have one, is just, you just can't do that typically. And so I love what you do. I think a lot of people are going to be interested in it. You may have to figure out a way to quit one of those jobs. I don't know. In the future.
Yeah,
that's the plan eventually.
Yeah. Well, what you do is you replace one income, and that person gets to quit.
Yep.
And then you replace the other income, and then you're both there. So it happens. It happens all the time. I love people who have that entrepreneurial spirit, and I think you do. So
yeah, Kelly does a lot of she makes purses and wallets, and she's done some racing themed stuff for herself.
Yep.
And I always told her, we don't have to be rich, but just to make enough money so I can retire. So now the joke is that I got to make enough diecast so that she can retire.
There
so
you
kind of
go.
roles were returned. But yeah, there will be an opportunity for fans to be able to get some of my cars for free, everywhere from the person in the stands to racers. In 2020, I had a company or a group that goes to our racetrack at 141 Speedway. We have a 10,000 to win race every year. It's called the Clash at the Creek. They have a big auction there for childhood cancer. They reached out to me and said, "Hey, would you mind doing some cars?" Absolutely, I will do them for free. That's for childhood cancer, anything to do with children. Absolutely, we will jump on it at any time. So I said, but the big thing is you have to go pick the drivers. You get the drivers who you guys want on these cars, and do that part, and we will build the cars for you. So there'll be a silent auction, and these cars will be under. I don't know who all the drivers are going to be. Some of them are going to be our local drivers from Wisconsin. We get them from all over the country and all over, and from Canada that come to this race. I don't know who they're going to be yet. It's kind of going to be a surprise. I'm kind of looking forward to it. We'll have that. Next year at the Westhurst Memorial Race, there will be a longest tow award. I've been working with Benjy Lyons. We're still working on the final details of that, but a long tow award. A lot of your long tow guys, these families, these race teams, they travel a long ways. They use a lot of their vacation money and just to go to have fun. So we develop not only cars, but we are building trailers. So you can have your diecast doesn't sit on the shelf just sitting there. It's actually a truck and trailer. So I did make a dually out of a diecast, of a NASCAR diecast. I got some ridicule for it because it was an old Jeff Gordon one, but it doesn't matter. Yeah. So and I took a picture, I showed it to Benjy, and he goes, "That's the exact same dually that I used to have when I was a kid traveling all over Arizona, going to all these races." And I said, "Well, I can make a diecast of that." And I got this open trailer, like the old 80s late model trailers that they had back in the 80s, and we'll build this together. We'll build this as a display for the Westhurst Memorial, and whoever travels the farthest with an open trailer will get money and a trophy. Now, where do you get a trophy for traveling far? Yeah, trophy doesn't put a gas tank in there, but put gas in your tank, but it's something to bring back that no one else is going to ever have. One of a kind deal. So we're working on the fine details of that. So yeah, it's going to have the world famous Coco the donkey in it. We're in the process of looking for that. Make sure Coco's in the diecast somewhere. So, but yeah,
that's so cool. And you talk about Benjy, so it's interesting that my son's name was Benjy, and I don't hear that name very often. Lots of Bens.
Yeah.
But he was Benjy to me up until the time he passed away when he was 40. I tried to be a little bit more like calling Ben in front of other people as he got older. But he was Benjy to me from the day he was born, and it's interesting that that's what this guy's name is. So lots of coincidences here. Yeah. So oh my gosh, my head is spinning. I've just got so many thoughts about how cool this is and the things that you can do. And yes, we had an open trailer. We did end up having an enclosed trailer, but the days of the open trailer, but we didn't travel all that far.
Yep.
But that's just the whole grassroots thing. I think so much of racing, and you're seeing it on NBC and all these different places, they're going back to that. They're promoting the grassroots racing. They're promoting the go to your home track, keep racing alive. And you're doing the same thing. You're offering something to those people at a very reasonable price that normally they would never be able to have that.
Yeah. And that's like, I talked to Benjy quite a bit. We've actually gotten close in the last few months. I mean, I've known the guy back when I lived in Arizona I moved there in '84 and I moved out of there in 2001. Being around the racing community, he was a younger guy who's a little bit younger than I am. And he said, a lot of these promoters are so business oriented that they've lost the fun or the entertainment part of racing. Now, I'll probably get ridiculed for this, but it's true. They've lost that part of it. And that's where he says, you got to look at different ways of promoting. And with the whole Coco thing, it's if you've seen anything on IMCA TV or anything from the West Horse, he is a porcelain donkey that Benjy has that sat as a mascot for Coco Pass Speedway. It's just a yard ornament. Well, someone snagged him and took him to Vegas, right? And they had these pictures of him out in Vegas. So he's all viral. Over. He's gone viral, and it's just a donkey. A pottery, but it's promoting the track. Yep. It's not just promoting the track, it's promoting racing.
Right.
And I don't want to give all the details away, but you're going to see a lot more of Coco and the advertising, using that type of advertising through Benjy and through us. So
yeah, and you can't do the same old all the time. It's interesting because we are going to be doing in 2020, the IWMA is going to be working. So far, we've got some NASCAR tracks on board, but I want to do, some drag race tracks and dirt tracks and that. And so I'm working on getting in touch with those, but we're going to be working with, let's say, Phoenix, because Phoenix is the first one that we're going to do, I think, in 2020. The day of the Xfinity race, we're going to have an event for women only. And so, there's more and more women coming to the track. If you sit in the stands, it's about 50-50. And yet there's some of those women that I know are there because their husband likes racing. And so they go because of that. And maybe they're not as interested in racing as they could be. Or maybe the husband would like the wife to come and say, hey, they're having an event just for women. They're going to have some of the racing wives as panelists at the, whatever. It might be something that gets some of those women more interested and more involved in racing. And so you got to do something different. You can't just have the same old events at the tracks. You can't just advertise in the newspaper because there is no newspaper hardly anymore. You've got to be creative.
Well, it's kind of funny because we've gone to Rochester, Minnesota, I think 3 times for the Featherlight Fall Classic. Is it Deer Creek? And just what they do to make the women comfortable, because I've heard it from a lot of different people. If you take your wife to the track, she better be happy there.
Yeah, that's right.
They just the little comforts for the women, because the guys have a row of porta potties that they go in. The women have a really nice bathroom. There's 6 stalls. It's got checkered floors and plumbing.
Right.
So just those little touches, like, hey, this isn't so bad. So that's something that I personally appreciate because,
Absolutely. There's nothing worse than a porta potty on a hot summer day.
Yep.
I've been around racing for a very long time. But I took Kelly to her very first race.
Yep.
And it was a few years ago at 141 Speedway.
About 8 years ago.
Yeah, 8 years ago. And I said, you'll have a good time. It was so cold that opening night and it snowed. They had a mud pile and snow piled up on the inside.
Yeah, they're pushing snow off the track to prep it.
Yep, and we watched it. It was the best time. It was so cold. She had a hoodie on, and all you can see is just her eyeballs and her nose and her mouth.
Yep.
And I said, are you having fun? And I said, if you get through this night, you will love racing from now on.
For
she
sure.
goes all the time.
Yep.
And I'm like, if she makes it through here, she's good. If she doesn't make it through this, yeah. And she's been hooked ever since.
Yep.
We travel all over North Dakota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, Minnesota, just going to races. We take a weekend off and we go. So we will be there. I don't want to say meet and greet, but going out and and going face to face with the drivers. I
Yeah.
think the first one that we're going to go to is the Frostbuster in Boone, Iowa.
Okay.
That weekend, because that's my birthday weekend. We're going to take that weekend and go there
Mhm.
and walk around the pits, and so people can put a face to what the business is.
Right. Well, you need to come to Kalamazoo in June, and it's usually on a Wednesday. I think it's on a Wednesday, and it's called the Kalamazoo Clash.
Mhm.
That's my local track here. You come, that they bring drivers from all around our area. It's a big race. It's always the Wednesday before the NASCAR race at MIS. So you can come to the Clash on Wednesday, and then if you want to go to see NASCAR at Michigan, it's about an hour and a half the other way to get to that track. But that's a great race. And you know, I know a lot of those drivers, so that would be a great place for you to come and have a whole new you know, bunch of people that you could meet and talk to, because I can think of quite a number of drivers that come to that track that would be very interested in what you do.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
I think it's like
and-
the first, I want to say it's the first Wednesday in June, but if you go to Kalamazoo Speedway, I believe the schedule's out on there, and yeah, plan to come. And I've been known to put people up in the spare room, so don't be afraid to
Well,
call
thank
me
you.
and say, hey, we need a place to sleep, because we've been known to do that. So
We get a
love
lot
to
of
have
it.
you come and check that track out, and all those racers.
Yeah, when we travel, we always try to support the local community, racers. Hey, we got a place to sleep, and that's what the racing community is all about. That NASCAR and some of the bigger series, you don't have that. Grassroots racing, it's one giant family.
Yeah, we're tight knit.
We're tight knit. Someone's hurt, someone has a loved one that's lost, the whole community jumps on it and supports them, does what it can.
Very
you're
true.
traveling, like you said, hey, we're traveling. You could crash at my place. I mean, that's what grassroots racing is all about.
For sure.
And you hit it right on the head. And like Kelly said, when she got into this, she's like, she's never met a community that has, when something goes wrong or something goes good, where the community is,
We band together.
we all band together.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's stronger than football. It's stronger than, you know, NASCAR, NHRA. Because I mean, and I don't want to throw the money thing, but we don't have the big giant money that a lot of these other sanctioned bodies have, or the other styles of racing have. So the only thing we got is big hearts and open arms, and that's truly what the community has.
Well, I think the other thing that plays a big part in that is every weekend, pretty much, if you go to your home track every weekend, you're going to be racing against the same people. You're going to see the same people. And it's, you know, forever, how many weeks in the summer. And then, you know, like our track just had a bowl-a-thon thing to raise money for they adopt families at Christmas time. And so they did the bowling thing that they do, Kalamazoo Cares for Kids. And you don't want to miss it, because all your racing buddies are going to be there, you know. So you don't find that in football, baseball, basketball. My kids played all those sports. And you make friends with some of the parents, but it's not the same.
No. And like our local track, 141 Speedway, we have another track that's really close, but it's Plymouth at the fairgrounds. It's a Plymouth racetrack. They have a bowling event at Odyssey Bowling Alley in Sheboygan Falls every year. 141, you go there, that is probably so family oriented racetrack. They have a restaurant and a bar that's attached to it. You can sit inside, your kids are cold, you sit inside, look out the window. It's like being in a press box. You have elderly people, or you just don't want to, if you have some friends, you can rent tables and they have waitresses. So it's like sitting in a restaurant and watching a race.
Very smart.
It's very smart. Toby Cruz and Scott Rajeski and his brother and all of them that are involved in that track, they look outside the box of how to promote. And they do a very, very good job up there with that thing. And I'm hoping to get more involved with them with the diecast part of it. Like I said, there's the children's cancer auction during our big race, and hopefully just over the next couple of years it gets bigger and bigger. There's still a big learning curve of what we're doing and where do we go from here, but it's nothing but up. I mean, I'm pretty sure at some point it's going to flatline. It's just the way the industry is, where it'll get flooded or whatever. But it's just an amazing ride right now for me and my wife.
Yeah, we didn't think it was going to take off this fast.
Yeah, and here's the thing. When obviously we're going to promote you on here, and so then somebody else is like, oh, I can do that too. But you know what? There's so many people out there who I think would be interested in this, that I think you would probably welcome.
Oh yeah,
a little competition, as long as they're doing a really good job and they're a good company.
I think I mean, you could be a race team and you can have your family members. You say, hey, I want to buy these cars. So you can buy the chassis and buy the bodies and everything from customdirt.com, and have you do it at home. Yeah. And do it right in your house with your children and build these cars. And then they can go and sell them at the track. I welcome that. I think that is the greatest thing, because the bottom line is I want to grow our community. Yep. And in the racing stuff. So you don't have to go and spend big money at a diecast shop to get a bunch of cars like NASCAR does, where you can get them together. Me, Dwight, there's a lot of other guys that are builders, that you just make a phone call to us, call us, email us, any questions. I missed an opportunity because we were so busy to work with, there was a banquet, and I wished I would have had these names of these tracks, but I think it was American Modified Series or something. It was out in Virginia Motor Speedway. I think it was Virginia. I'm going to get this wrong. But he called me and said, hey, can I get 15 cars from our banquet with all the advertising? I said, I can't do it. I cannot possibly produce that. I'm so sorry. There's no way I can do it. Yeah. And when I turn away work like that, it's not work. When I turn away opportunities like that, it hurts. But I couldn't do it. And it's not to hurt the business. It's just I don't like to turn away people that come to me.
Well, and we don't want to give people subpar product either. So, like we just slapped it together and just to make a deadline, that's not what we're going to do. So
he emailed Dwight at customdirtcars.com, said, hey, how can I get these to my banquet? And he says, the only way you're going to be able to do it, is we can order everything for you, get it drop shipped to you, then have to get it together. I don't know what team he had, but it had to be Santa's helpers or something. Yeah. But
it all goes back to that family.
Yep. He got that. He got the cars, got them, had them detailed, put them together, and had them on 15 displays for every single one of his drivers for their banquet. He made their banquet. And
it's my gosh. Can you imagine those drivers when they saw those cars?
Yep, those pictures are people can see them on the Facebook page at customdirtcart.com. Dwight got pictures of them. They were on Facebook floating around there. But the amazing work that those guys put together, and that's why I do this, to watch and see that. No, I wasn't part of that, but for what we have done in the community, people are reaching out and doing that type of thing. Yep. And I think that's just awesome.
I do too. So about how long does it take you to do a car from the time you get the stuff from Dwight till Kelly's done? How long does that take?
I can produce one car. If I had one car and I can just do it, I can do one in about a week. And we're shortening that up, working with the Diecast, and we're working with Dwight
for the printing.
On the printing, on moving some of the stuff. The cages are attached to the bodies now. Before they were separate, so now they're all attached. So that saves off time. Makes Kelly mad because she can't reach in there to do the put the graphics on. But hey,
trimming it's a little bit harder that way. But
it's harder for her to trim, but it's just quicker for us. We are working with different types of materials to try to make it smoother, so we don't have all the labor hours. But right now we're at a week.
And that includes mostly dry time in between painting.
Yeah, so we've always got cars in so many stages. Actually, our house has turned into
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a race shop.
It's a race
Mini
shop. Yeah, mini race shop.
Mhm.
There's stuff everywhere. So it's like kind of absorbed our house.
Yep.
But yeah, it takes about a week.
Okay.
Some of the big orders like Dwight and Ethan Dotson and them, because we are in cold weather, I do have a little trouble getting stuff painted in the garage. It's so cold.
Oh yeah.
That's what slows me down. Summertime, when everybody don't want them, that's when we're busy. That's when I can do a lot of the painting.
Yep.
So I'm trying to get the inventory built up to where I can have some of the cars already staged without the graphics on them.
Yep.
Yeah.
But every time I make an order, I can order an extra 20 cars, extra 10 cars. By the time that order comes,
They're used
sold.
up.
they're gone already. So it's just trying to get enough inventory to produce. It's a headache. It's
Yep.
trying to get it,
Stay ahead of it.
try to stay ahead of the game.
Okay. Well, you put my name on the list,
Yeah, we'll
so
do.
that I'm in line.
Yep.
Then I'll get you the stuff. But yeah, that's oh my gosh. I'm so glad, Kelly, that we connected and
Yeah, me too.
and that we could talk today because wow, I'm just really excited and I can think of a number of people that I know who would be like, oh yeah, this was my first this, or you know, I won the championship at Galesburg Speedway. I want a picture of that, or whatever it might be. If you're a race fan or a race car team or driver, there's nothing you like more than something with your car on it, a picture, a card. I do send out cards, and I send a lot of cards to people, and I can customize them with pictures of their race car. And they're very popular because people like having that picture
Yep.
of their car on something.
Well, I think Chad touched on it earlier. When we flew to Arizona last Christmas because his parents are there, and we met up with Chuck and Austin Cools, and we gave Austin his car, and that was kind of the first glimpse I got to see. Like, you know, when we mail them out to people, we don't get to see their reaction when they open them, but we were standing right there, and just to see the look on his face of like, wow, that's my car. It's like, you know, miniature. It's exactly like the real thing.
Right.
That's the cool part, just to see their reaction and like, wow, I did that.
You know, it's kind of like when you make Christmas presents or you make a gift for somebody. It's not about what it costs, or for you, it's not about how much money you're making. It's the joy of seeing the reaction on the other people.
How overwhelming this is, so you get a scale of how overwhelmed we are.
Is the Kleenex box right there on your table?
One night I said, Kelly, this is taking off. And she's like, well, yeah, you get a couple sales. And I showed her my messenger. And one night it went 31 people.
Yep.
And I'm not talking likes. I'm talking, I'm working on my graphics. I'm sending you money.
Yep.
It was overwhelming.
And every time we send out an order and the people get it, we wait for their permission to post the pictures. We want them to do it first.
Right.
As soon as that hits Facebook or Instagram or anything, it's boom, 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 boom. We got all these other people.
The phone will sit there, and you can post it within 15 minutes. It just rings and rings, and it's blown up. And you just leave it sit because you will be on it for hours trying to answer questions. And then it's going back through, and you know, we got a book, and we just start writing people's names down and writing them down. And what they wanted and just keep tally of this. And we're on our second or third sheet of just people that are on the list of wanting these cars done. So it's like, and you know, everybody wanted at Christmas time. And my biggest thing is I didn't want to take a bunch of cars at Christmas and say, yeah, we can get them to you. And all of a sudden I don't make their Christmas present. So we actually had to like cut off and say, hey, sorry, we're not going to make Christmas. We're looking at second, third week and third week of January and going into March.
Right.
I mean, I wish it wasn't that long, but that's how our backlog is.
Well, and you know, whenever you order something that's very custom, that's typical. 3 months out, you know.
And I'm trying not to I'm trying to shorten that as much as possible. But like I said, we work 40-hour-a-week jobs. So
opposite shifts.
yeah, that's what saves us, is because there's someone always working on them.
Yep.
Right.
Because we are on opposite shifts.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
Well, guys, I love what you're doing. Yeah, I'm so glad we connected, because hopefully after this airs, your phone's going to be going ding, 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 ding.
yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, any last thoughts or anything you want to share or say before we wrap this up?
The big thing is, go check us out. Not just me. Go check out Dwight at customdirt.com, and look at it. We have tutorials in there how to build these cars yourself, and do. And I'm looking forward to meeting more people, being involved with our graphics companies. That's our biggest, I would say, our bottleneck. A lot of graphics companies don't want to give up their diecast or their copies of their cars and stuff.
Yep.
So that is a small struggle with us. A lot of my local drivers want diecast, but they can't, because the graphics company that does a lot of our cars won't release his artwork. And that hurts. It really hurts the community. It really hurts. But I understand them trying to protect themselves with that. So we do offer, if they want to print it themselves, the measurements so they can print it themselves.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's one of the main reasons we go through the drivers too, because then it's real. It's their actual wrap, and it's not bootlegged or copied or
and that's
distorted.
That's one thing I am totally against. Is I won't go make a Billy Moyer car for somebody. That's just, no. You got to go through them.
Right.
That hurts. We're not all here to make money, but it just hurts the idea of that happening. Where some big driver comes out. I got drivers that are sending me the brand new wraps, and people are getting a hold of these and already putting them on video games and doing this, and the driver hasn't even released his car yet. Just have the respect for your driver, your favorite driver. Let them debut their car. Let them debut their stuff. So just people, be patient with the drivers. Be patient with us. It means a lot to us. So,
because it is a hobby, but it's special to us, and it's something we can do together, which makes it more special. So it's a team effort.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and when I talk to you, I can hear the passion in your voices when you talk about it, and that's it's good that you have those 40-hour-week jobs, but then you also have now something, it's like you can't wait to get home because you want to work on this or do that, and that kind of keeps you going day after day, which that's a good thing. So yeah. Well, guys, I love talking to you. Are you coming to PRI by any chance?
No, I have not had the opportunity to. A couple years ago we were going to go, but we didn't get to make it. That is a big
it's on his bucket list.
2020, I would like to try to be able to hit that show. I'd like to be able to hook up with somebody to actually have a few cars there.
Well, you just let me know, because I have a booth. So
maybe we can work on something to get at PIR next year. And get right with the drivers. I know we're gonna set up some stuff at our local track here and there once in a while. Possibly,
because that's where PRI has a lot of. That's where the drivers are going to be. Lots of drivers will be there.
Exactly. And I want to be able to have a few of the cars. I'll probably have some of the drivers' cars that we do, because every car I build, no matter who he is, if he's a rookie, first time he's ever raced, no matter who it is, I always make one car for myself.
That's a good idea.
And I don't have one of Austin Poole's, because I didn't think about that till afterwards. But that wrap right there was over $50 for that wrap for that one little car. The guys that put that on, it's all in neon. It's all has overlay reflective. The metallic purple. The people that laid that graphic are amazing.
Yeah, it was gorgeous.
It's absolutely a gorgeous car, and you don't get to see them. Ricky Thornton, all his stuff is. We're producing all that on a reflective vinyl where you print over it, and anything that's white or silver reflects. So it's sitting in your living room, it glows.
That's
All
cool.
Ricky stuff goes on that.
Yep.
I want to get them in these people's hands where they can look at the cars themselves. And
Yeah.
PIR, I think, will be the best thing that I can get into to do it.
Mhm.
And show off
Right.
what we do. And I'd love to hit PIR in 2020.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it this
Well,
year.
you'll have
There's no way.
to stay in touch and we'll figure something out.
Absolutely. All
Okay,
right.
awesome.
All right. Thank you very much for this
All right.
opportunity to be on your show.
Well, thank you for being with us today. It was really interesting to hear what you're doing, and I would guess that in the not too distant future, you're going to have to go into your boss and say, it's time to go. So, well, you guys hope you had a good Thanksgiving yesterday, and and have a good holiday coming up. And I will definitely stay in touch.
Sounds
You
good.
too. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for listening to Racing Girls Rock Podcast. Follow us on Facebook at International Women's Motorsports Association or on Instagram and Twitter at the IWMA Nation. And if you know someone that should be on our show, drop us an email at iwmanation@gmail.com.